What is going on, people of YouTube? My name is Kurtyoy and welcome to another Let's Talk Football podcast. I don't know what number it is, and quite frankly, I'm never going to know what number it is because I've lost count already and I can't even count up to 10. I know we're not on 10 though. I know we're not on 10. And last week we had J&O on the episode, which was fantastic to have actually someone else shed their opinion on how shit Chelsea are doing. But today it's just a standard myself and Josephine. Say hello.
Hello, my name is Josephine.
You couldn't get worse than that. But I don't know why I've introed
my
it.
name is Josephine, and welcome to another episode of the podcast.
Hello, my name's Josephine. I'm 28 and I'm an alcoholic. Hi, Josephine. But today,
Anyway,
I've introed it, and I don't know why I've introed it because Joe's hosting it, so I'm going to hand over to Joe now.
Joe's in charge. What Joe says, Joe gets.
He's basically bullied me again.
What Joe wants, Joe gets. Dictator Joe. Anyway, so Kurt's introed it. Thank you very much for that, Kurt. And
Okay.
now it's time to slap my notes on the desk. I don't think it made a loud noise. But we're going to start off with the 3 games. Same old stuff, different day. So we're going to start off with Spurs 0, Liverpool. I need to stop doing those terrible jokes. Right. City 5, Bournemouth 1. City were absolutely prolific once again, and even without the likes of Sergio Aguero in their team and Vincent Kompany. So, prolific City is my main title for it. Kurt, how prolific were Man City?
They were very good in front of goal. Admittedly, they were against a rather weak defence in Bournemouth, probably one of the weakest in the league. Federici didn't do Bournemouth any favours, giving them a few chances. Wasn't on one of his good days, if you might call it that. But to bring positives from City's side, they scored 5 goals without Aguero, without David Silva. I think the same without Kompany is there because they still conceded, against Bournemouth, albeit it was an okay goal, but they still conceded. So attacking wise, Kompany can't come in, but David Silva, is a quality player. Aguero has shown he's a quality player. And it shows that City are a force to be reckoned with. Sterling hadn't done much this season. He stepped up, grabbed himself a hat-trick. Bonny grabbed himself 2 goals and an assist. De Bruyne was within the assists as well. Jesus Navas managed to pick up 2 as well, which I was quite surprised about. And I think it shows that, although they don't have strength in depth, every player they do have that's in and around the first team that isn't considered a youth player, attacking wise, has quality, and that should make other teams, quite scared to come up against them.
Yeah, I mean, other teams should be quite fearful of City. I mean, they are sort of top of the league by 2 points, admittedly, which isn't a lot these days, but 2 points nevertheless. It was an interesting week. It's interesting to see that David Silva is actually out for the next game as well, I believe.
Yeah, Aguero's out for a month as well.
Yeah, so they're gonna. Well, I'm not gonna say they're gonna struggle against Leicester away. I think is it Leicester? Who are they playing? Oh, Man United. No, they might.
Sorry, Man United.
No,
yeah,
they might. They might struggle actually. But anything can. Let's face it. I mean, I think that it's going to be an interesting game. It should be a good game. Man United hit some good form recently, as in they won 1 game, and Man City are just on fire at the moment. So. Hopefully it's going to be goals galore, but we all know, everyone always thinks it's going to be goals galore, but no, it never will be. It'll be a 0-0 draw, or a 2-1 win to United or Man City.
3 own goals.
So, my next pick, who needs Aguero? Wilfred Boney scored 2 goals, and recently it's come out that he has been recovering from malaria, which I didn't know.
Neither did I.
Which could have actually, and of course a few injuries. He's had quite an injury-torn time since he's been at City. Maybe that is what's been holding back Boney, because if they can get the old Boney, the Swansea Boney, he could score 20 goals a season for Man City. He's got that big prowess, attacking prowess about him.
It gives them something else, because one thing that City maybe do lack, and they do very well to counteract themselves, is their lack of height going forward. They've only really got, you look at their team before Boney joined, or when ultimately they had Dzeko, but this season they've got one player, and that's Bonnie. Toure isn't playing further forward because that position is taken by either, Navas, Sterling, De Bruyne, Silva there, Nasri there. So Yaya Toure is sitting back. So if they can get Bonnie firing and get the old Bonnie back, the flip-flap Bonnie that we used to love, the one that was doing flip-flaps around defenders and people thinking, is this even legal? What's going on here? It gives them another opportunity, because if you're losing out the game and let's say they're losing 1-0, Manchester United, they can bring on Bonnie, launch the ball up to him, and although he has got the height, but he's got the strength and the jumping, the leap of a salmon, of a young Tim Cahill. And, it gives them another option, and it also gives them a bit of, maybe if Aguero is not scoring, they don't have to stick with him throughout the whole season. They've got Bonnie, who can again score a lot of goals.
Yeah, I mean, Bonnie's one of those players that can definitely bully strikers, defenders as he comes onto the pitch. So, I don't see any reason as to why Bonnie can't be successful. So my next point is Bournemouth do lack scorers without Callum Wilson.
Yeah.
That is very obvious.
Admittedly, I did say Bournemouth weren't going to get near a goal. I'm not surprised that the only person that got near a shooting opportunity was a man by the name of Glenn Murray.
No, it was an Alecrian Mangala own goal as far as I'm concerned, because that deflection was quite big.
Either way, the goal has gone down as Glenn Murray, and I'm hardly surprised for the fact that he's proved at Palace, although he may not have the pace or strength, he's a goal scorer. And that's something not Bournemouth can utilise. Bournemouth, or not that they can utilise it, they have to utilise it, because there's talk going around now that I think I heard on Sky Sports News that Callum Wilson's season could be over. I thought he was only out for about 6 months, could have been back for the last 3-4 months. Apparently, some people are saying that's his season gone, in which case they maybe need to buy in January. If not, Glenn Murray needs to become the spear point of their attack, and they need to build their attack around Glenn Murray. Otherwise, they're not going to get anywhere near surviving this Premier League season.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I would say, if anything, they should buy a new striker, just because that is a lot of pressure on one player to score all the goals, which is something that you've noticed in the form of Harry Kane this season. When being pressured to score all the goals for Spurs, he's not performed. He's still not performing, despite the pressure being taken off, but hey-ho, you can't get everything. But, they do need to replace Callum Wilson, especially if he's out for the season. And I feel sorry for Callum Wilson, simply due to the fact of if he had a promising year, he could have even pushed himself into the England team or even a bigger club or something like that.
Yeah, maybe look into the loan market. I mean, not necessarily buy, but look into the loan market, and they could get a decent striker or two there.
Yeah, but the thing is, you got to remember what sort of decent loan players are out there at the moment. Like, I can't think of many. Perhaps someone from another country, but you got to remember this has got to be a player that's going to
proven goal scorer.
Yeah, it could sound stupid, but someone even like Adebayor, if you could afford his wages, he wouldn't be a bad signing for them.
Well, if they get into many people, can take the piss out of Captain Bellin, Captain Nobed, Tim Sherwood. One thing he did do is he utilised the fact that Adebayor was out form, and he put him into very good form. If they can do the same thing, you're getting a very, on his day, unplayable striker. And that's something that, I spoke about with Boney. He'll be out muscling, 99% of the centre-backs in the league. So, it's definitely something, although admittedly you have to pay like 500k a second in his wages, but it'd be worth it.
Well, I mean, maybe Adebayor's sitting there at home, he's not playing football probably for the first time in years, and he's probably sitting there thinking, maybe I should drop my 250 grand a week wage demands down to 240 grand, so, you never know. So let's move on to... Bournemouth were frankly just outclassed at the end of the day.
Well, I think most people saw it coming. I mean, I saw from the predict. No one was predicting Bournemouth to win. It was just a matter of by how many and whether City would concede. In my eyes, there was no other way of looking at it, personally.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, it's a bit mean, but it's like City, big Champions League team playing against a Championship team.
Yeah,
that's sort of how it felt.
Bournemouth still are a Championship team in my eyes. unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately they haven't bought in the right places. They have bought Max Gradle, who hasn't performed yet.
He's injured now, I'm pretty sure.
There we go, another problem. Actually, no, he is, isn't he? Because him and Wilson, he's been quite unlucky so far, Eddie Howe, with his injuries.
I think he also had the left back he signed injured
Yeah,
too.
Tyrone Mings, I think.
That's it, Tyrone Mings, he's
Yeah.
injured.
He got injured, so he's not having the best of luck with injuries at the moment.
No.
No, you never know. He could do a Ronald Koeman and get injured himself. But let's move on to the next game. It's quite a big scoreline. Something I certainly didn't see coming, and neither did 90% of the world's population. Newcastle 6, Norwich 2.
Still scratching my head about that one.
Yeah. My first point is, who needs Tim Krul?
Well, Newcastle could have won 6-0.
Yeah, no, that's a good point.
But if they're going to score 6 goals every game, who needs a goalkeeper? Play
I still
an
think they
extra
need a goalie.
striker. Just play a sweeper back there.
Don't tempt them. So we don't really have to make say much on that. That was just a little fun point. The Wijnaldum show is what I've called this game because, well, he was just proving that he's a better player than Depay. He's a better PSV player. But,
Well, a lot of players
he
proved
really
they're
showed.
better than Depay this season.
Yeah, true. He really showed that he was, a very good signing. And me and Kurt said it from the start that he would be a good signing. He's showing himself to be the only Newcastle player that's got ability so far. So he's really, really proving to me that he should have joined West Ham. But, it was the Wijnaldum show. 4 goals. That's almost as many as Aguero. And for a midfielder as well. He's very good. What have you got to say on Wijnaldum? The Wijnaldum show.
Well, it's a bit of both for me. Wijnaldum did play well. He was, outstanding throughout the match. One point is, Newcastle had 6 shots on target. They scored 6 goals. Ruddy did not make a save in that game. Now, some of the finishes were clinical. Some of them you thought Ruddy could have done a lot better. And I think that's where a lot of it fell down. There were 6 shots, and they scored with 6 shots on target. For me, that's not acceptable for any sort of Premier League team to be having. But to take the to stop taking the credit away from Newcastle, it's the first time this season where they've played, or the first time this season for pretty much the whole game, they've played good football. I can relate back to the Newcastle 2, Chelsea 2 draw as the only really 45 minutes they had that was working well. But everyone can admit Wijnaldum won the internet, won the world.
Yeah,
get him a Nobel Peace Prize.
Yeah, very, very, very true indeed. It's the first time that Newcastle have looked okay, really, all season, as far as I'm concerned. So my next point is basically the next thing for this. How did this happen? And Kurt's basically already covered it. Ruddy didn't save a thing.
Ruddy didn't. It shows that, when you look at England goalkeepers and people are like, "Oi, get on me striker and say Ruddy for England squad," No, just no. Don't do that. We've got Hart. Who, let's face it doesn't matter who we play. We could pluck and take, like, let's say Emil Heskey and then Gary Medina as our other 2 goalkeepers. It's not going to matter because Hart's going to play. But
Yeah.
Butland and Fraser Forster are relying on the fact that he is fit. No other way of putting it. That and the fact Newcastle, they were very good in the attack. They still had their flaws in the defence. Chiote came in and took off at half time because of the fact he was heading for an early bath straight down the tunnel. Early exit for the game. He was reckless throughout all of it, or all of the first half. Picked him up at yellow card. And I think Newcastle fans are disappointed for the simple fact that it just shows that he can't be trusted. You've also got the fact that Colaccini, did okay at steadying the ship, but Newcastle defence again was all over the place. That was a free. Redmond's goal was good, but it was a free volley for him, and I'm pretty sure it was the same for excuse my pronunciation, but Mubakani Bazua.
Not bad. I would have just called him Bobakani.
Let's just call him Dave. Bob.
Dave.
Bob
Dave,
Kanu.
Bob and Jimmy.
Yeah, but two easy goals that they conceded, and it shows that Newcastle are improving, but they've still got a lot more improving to do. This isn't the end of it.
Oh no, it's not. And however, I do think that McLaren has saved his job for another month. Despite me tipping him to get sacked by the end of this month, I think he's done enough by winning this singular game to push him back into the sort of good books with Mike Ashley. However, if he loses to Sunderland next week, quite badly, he will be back in those bad books once again.
I don't think he'll lose. I think that's got a draw written all over it. But I still don't think he was ready to. I still don't think he was going to be sacked. I still think he was going to be given until Christmas for the simple fact they put money and players behind him, and it was just a matter of time because it's not going to be a change around over the summer. They saw how poor they were under the world's and the universe's best football coach. Taking a step down from an ultimate sort of man like John Carver. It's not going to happen, over a period of months. It's going to happen over a period of centuries to get into, the good sort of form that they were in with under, Mr. Violent headbutting referee pushing Alan Pardew.
Yeah, well, Alan Pardew, it's hard to get over a man like him. West Ham did it eventually. So, have you got anything else to add on to that, or we're just going to move on?
Mitrovic was awesome. I'm so in love with Mitrovic at the moment. It's unreal, and he had another fantastic game. I think it just shows that he's a Serbian Alan Smith, Alan Shearer.
Serbian Alan Smith.
It's like Mitrovic, you just won 6-2. How do you feel after that game? Yeah, well, it was a good game. We always had the advantage, going into it, but I think I played well. Thanks, Mitrovic. Boring.
Yeah. No, Mitrovic was good. Give him credit where credit's due. Me, I'm very fair like that. He's still reckless, though. You can't trust him.
Oh, he's still. I'm pretty sure he still picked up a yellow card in the game.
Good.
Oh, no, he didn't actually. No, he didn't.
Oh, wow.
I thought he did. Oh,
he's turned over a new leaf.
He's a new man.
So let's move on from that disgusting score. And I couldn't really pick the third game, I'm going to be honest. There was 3 games that stuck out for me, adding to this one. So 4 games that stuck out that really made a push for this final spot in the big 3, in the big talk. But I've gone for Everton versus United.
Good choice.
And that is only because I've got, one main point of Rooney finally scores.
Again.
But, it was a good game with a few good goals, really, from Arsenal. Bollocks. Man United.
And Man United fans all over have just closed down the tab. Well done. I hope you're proud of yourself.
Brilliant. I hope that Thomas McCarthy's not an Arsenal fan.
Oh no. Who's our only viewer?
Anyway, it was a good game with some good goals. I liked the Ander Herrera goal. That's got to be said.
I like Ander Herrera in general as a player.
Oh yeah, no, I like Ander Herrera as well. I've loved him ever since Football Manager 2013. On my Everton career with him, he was an absolute animal in centre midfield. I had him until he was 35, and he was still getting goals and assists. Anyway, moving on. United 3, Everton 0. Everton have looked decent against the big teams so far, as proven in their win against Southampton.
Just Southampton.
Yeah, but they've looked all right against the big teams. Some big players have performed, like Lukaku and John Stones and Lukaku. But Wayne Rooney scored, and that seems to have taken all the headlines.
I think first of all, before the match, you need to pay respect to, what is an Everton, or you could say an Everton legend in Howard Kendall, who sadly was announced had passed away before the game, which sort of, I suppose, sort of you made things a little more like the want to win, but that needs to be mentioned first of all. Secondly, was I think the thing that needs to be mentioned the most about this game is that you look at United's squad, and you look at the fact that Depay was on the bench, And I think Louis van Gaal has sent out a message to Memphis Depay for the simple fact, that they're coming in. Mata comes off at half time. He doesn't bring Depay on for him. He brings on Jesse Lingard. I think for the big thing for that is that United played so well without
Memphis.
Depay playing. And, you look at the midfield too, Schneiderlin, Schweinsteiger. Glad to see them not going with Schneiderlin or Schweinsteiger and Carrick. For the simple fact, it's way too defensive. You've got, Mata, Herrera and Marshall. Not much pace, but an all-round, or, a fantastic, left foot, you could say a wand in Mata. You've got the pace in Marshall, who did do very well attacking-wise and defending-wise, let's not forget. And you've got Herrera, who's a complete midfielder, fantastic player. And I think the fact that Depay wasn't considered to be brought on at all. I think Louis van Gaal is trying to show that you can't just walk into this team and play every week. If you're not going to perform, you're out. And I think that's good management.
Yeah, no, I do like that approach to management because it's the way that management should be. Players shouldn't play every week because of the big name. Hence the reason why I don't think Rooney has played every single game this season.
Yeah.
Because he is not, well, he is still the big name, but Van Gaal's trying to send out the message of you're not going to play if you're not performing. Now, Rooney's been given his chance again, and he has finally sort of, I guess you should say, paid his dividends. But it's still not good enough. One goal in however many games is just terrible.
2 goals. He scored against Sunderland.
Did he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he scored against Sunderland.
Why are they saying it's his first goal?
I don't want to sound like a mug, but I'm pretty sure he scored against Sunderland.
Why did all the headlines say Rooney finally scores and he hits back at the haters?
I don't know. I'm going to check this quickly.
Yeah,
because I don't want to make myself look like a mug.
Because right now I think
no, he did score against Sunderland.
He did score against Sunderland.
Yeah. Thought so.
I need some new sources. Right. So, where was I?
Not sure.
Basically, Everton were terrible and Man U were good. I like Van Gaal's way of managing. I'm glad Depay didn't play because he's being a bit of a twat at the moment in his ability. That's what I've got to say on the game. I actually didn't have much to say about that game, to be honest.
That Man United just outplayed Everton.
It's a different game. Yeah.
They just outplayed Everton. I think the key thing is that, have United found their best team? Personally, I think yes. Another thing to mention is that Lukaku, is known for, outstrengthening defenders, getting in front of them, really being quite a beast on the ball. And one thing that I mentioned quite, firmly in the review, go and watch it on my channel, is that Smalling, has took, United by storm. And the one thing I did say about Smalling is that I think he's the only secured starter in the back line that we can have for the World Cup. Euros. Sorry, because he bossed the game. It's about time as well. Sorry to mention, to change subjects, that Daley Blind did not play centre back.
Yes, I know.
I'm so glad.
Finally. Sooner or later, let's face it, it had to happen because it's just been absolutely abysmal having him there.
I think he does want to play Daley Blind in centre back, but he looked at the fact he was coming up against Lukaku and thought, "Do I want to win this game or piss off more people?" And Louis van Gaal decided to go with the safe option and not piss off people and win the game.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that Lukaku is a very on and off sort of player.
Oh yeah,
He will either be unplayable, like no one will believe, or he'll be, you won't even notice he's playing.
That's what I'm going to it.
Yeah, that is the other thing. He's either unplayable or you won't even notice him playing. And this week, I feel like he had one of them I didn't even notice he was playing games.
You could have put Aruna Kone out front, it wouldn't have mad. Wouldn't have mad.
Although Aruna Kone has actually been quite good this season. It's not a laughing matter. Aruna Kone has been decent so far. But, yeah, I mean, I don't know why I chose this game. I only chose it because it's, two decent-ish teams. I would have much rather have gone with West Ham Crystal Palace.
We can go on that afterwards. One thing to quickly mention, though,
okay,
is Man United, Man City, both teams going into it on a big win.
Yeah.
Who takes the who are you going for at the moment?
Who's at home?
Man United.
I'm sticking with. It depends what Man United shows up.
Yeah.
It really does, because if you get the Man United of last week, I would say Man United.
Yeah.
But if you get a Man City with company, it could be a different story. It depends how fit company is. I am gonna go with City. Big shout. Because I think that City have the upper hand this year.
Yeah.
And I also think that Daley Blinn's going to play centre back. And also to add on to your point of Chris Smalling, I think that Chris Smalling is actually one of the best centre backs in the Premier Division this season so far.
Same. I think, you've got at the moment companies in form. Looking at him, I'm thinking, he's pretty good. To be quite honest, besides that, I'm looking at Smalling being, probably the second best. I can't see anyone on the same level as him at the moment.
No, there's no one that's performing to the same level. I mean, it's bad when I'm actually sitting here and saying to myself, you know what? Winston Reid has actually been one of the better centre backs so far this season.
Whoa, statements.
That's not even a lie, because in my opinion, he's actually been decent. Again. But, we'll move on to... West Ham are also still in the top 4, guys. I just want to put that out there. So right, we'll move on to. I'm gonna do the honourable mentions this week. I don't always do them, but we're gonna do a short little honourable mention for 3 teams. West Ham 3, Crystal Palace 1. Now, as a West Ham fan, I am over the moon with this. That is probably one of the results of the season so far. Big scalp.
Big scalp.
We continued our unbeaten away record, which is even better. And I just think that I don't know what's happening. Sooner or later, something's going to go wrong. I say sooner or later. We've got Chelsea next, so I'm just going to be made to pay for all the abuse I've given Chelsea over the past few weeks. But yeah, I mean, I'm over the moon of how we've been playing. I thought we were solid. We did everything right. Dimitri Payet is rightfully the top scorer in Fantasy Premier League at the moment, and I just wanted to say that just so everyone knew that in case they didn't. What have you got to say on West Ham?
They're very solid. The interchangeable bus is still working. It hasn't broken down yet. And to think, you're looking at how well West Ham signed, and I was one of the people that praised West Ham for the way they signed, although I didn't put them high in my predictions. That was now a silly decision, saying they were going to get relegated. I feel like an absolute muppet as they're on the complete other end of the thing. Looking at the fact Carroll's not starting yet, that's big. You've got Enner Valencia on the bench, you've got Ogbonna on the bench, you've got Jelavic on the bench, Antonio is nowhere to be seen. You've got all these players to come in. West Ham can only get stronger, and that's a scary thing to think about. Unless there's a drop in form, West Ham are only going to carry on with this, in my eyes.
My mentions about that is Ogbonna, Valencia, and who was the other one you said? Carroll. Carroll's technically still in this bracket, are all still returning to injury. From injury. So that is a big thing that could potentially be hitting us in the face in the next few weeks. I was quite interested to see that Antonio had been completely dropped from the team. I don't know what's happened.
I'm going to look on Twitter, because I know he posted something on it on Twitter, but continue talking.
But I have rated him quite highly in the past, Antonio, and maybe he's just not been performing that well in training or something, and players are getting ahead of him in the lineups, but I still think he's going to perform well eventually. But the fact that we've got Ogbonna coming back is amazing. The fact that we've got Valencia coming back is probably one of the biggest things this season, because he just makes things happen. But the problem that West Ham are going to have now is, who do you drop? Because you've got the likes of, for example, Lanzini, he's probably been our second best player this season so far. He's up there. He's been very good so far, him and Payet have just, run the midfield week in, week out. Now, if he is still performing at this form, that is right wing sold. And then you've got CAM, you've got Payet. And then left wing, Victor Moses has just been unstoppable as well. So then this now leaves Valencia out in the cold. And it wouldn't be bad if we did this whole rotation thing, but I don't see West Ham doing that. I'm just glad at how we're doing at the moment.
It's one of the best dilemmas to have, because if you're looking at it and thinking, who do we play? Because we've got so many players in form, I think any Premier League club will bite your hand off of that. And also, just to quickly say, Antonio put on Twitter, "No, I'm not injured. The manager made a decision. It hasn't affected my confidence at all. I'm going to wait for my opportunity and take it." And then he tweeted a few seconds later, "I knew it wasn't going to be easy to break into the Premier League, especially at a club sitting in third place. Boy, are on flames in the hashtag."
Well, I'm glad that he's not been paid off by it, but then again, I'm sure that he is, but he has to say, he has to be professional about it. And he's probably done the right thing by saying why, because a lot of people would have questioned it. But I've still got faith, Mikhail, if you're watching this. I know you are. I've got faith in you.
And if not, we at Sheffield Wednesday will take you back.
Yeah, we'll send you out on loan for the second half of the season.
Imagine that. I'll happily take that.
Imagine that. Antonio Matthias on the wings.
Imagine
but then would you drop Sugu? That's the problem.
Sugu's not a first teamer. It's Ross Wallace at the moment.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right then. I'll sit back down. Right, so move on. There's finally been 3 times the amount of goals scored at Vicarage Lane all season, as Arsenal won 3-0. I haven't got much to say on that either, because it's another, big win for a big team. But all I wanted to say is that Vicarage Road has now had 3 times as many goals in one game.
I think it's also seen a lot of people. There's one big Twitter account that got a lot of people unfollowing. Another big Twitter account that got a lot of people following for the fact that Walker had a disgusting game, did not score. Get him out. Bring Giroud in. He's our best striker. He scored 1 goal in 1 game now. Giroud is Arsenal's number 1. This is a stereotypical view of every single Arsenal fan.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Yaya Sinogo could come back from injury.
Score a goal. He's the one. Yeah. The Messiah's returned.
Yaya Sinogo would come back, score a goal, and they're like, no, Giroud, sell him. Sinogo's the man. Bentner could re-sign for Arsenal, score a goal against Crawley, and they'll be like, nah, get him up front now. Get him up front now.
Crawley.
Yeah, FA Cup game. He can't be back before January, can he?
That's a good point.
There you go, look at that. That's my tip now. Arsenal to get Crawley in the FA Cup. I wonder if I can put a bet on that.
If that comes through, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Also, we require 10% of the betting, or he does.
Illuminati confirmed. Right, what have I got next? Oh, have I frozen? I haven't frozen. Right, we're going to go through... Oh, no, I forgot a team. The Comeback Kings are back again.
Leicester.
Southampton...
Sorry.
Spoiler alert. Jesus. Right. Southampton 2-0 at half-time. And then just out of nowhere, you get a Jamie Vardy double. And it's 2-2 at full-time. The Comeback Kings are back. And they're 4th. Not as good as West Ham, that means. 5th? Oh,
you're 4th.
I was close. It's because you said that Antonio is talking about a 3rd place team.
Yeah, well, I didn't realise that certain teams hadn't played yet. God.
Well, if West Ham beat Chelsea, we go to 2nd league as long as Arsenal and Man U lose. Interesting fact.
Not bad.
Chelsea have a -3 goal difference.
Not something you expected to see at the start of the season.
Right, I'm going to stop laughing because they're going to absolutely destroy us. Right, let's move on to the results. So the results for this week were Swansea City 0, Stoke City 1, Newcastle 6, Norwich 2. Spurs have ruined Jurgen Klopp's debut at his dream destination of Liverpool, 0-0. Chelsea 2, Villa 0. Was Diego Costa back? No, he scored a tap-in. Palace 1, West Ham 3, Everton 0, Manchester United 3, City 5, and Bournemouth 1. Southampton 2, Leicester 2. The Saviour, Rondon, Superman, they should call him now. West Brom 1, Sunderland 0. And Watford 3. Oh, no, that's wrong. Watford 0, Arsenal 3. So, just going to say something on that Sunderland game. Sam Allardyce has actually, I think this was a stat, Sam Allardyce has lost his first ever game for the debut of his club. He's never lost before on his first ever game at a club. And it was
Sounds
against
about
West
right.
Brom. So Pulis has won the Pulis on Allardyce match. So therefore proving that Pulis is now the best manager in the league.
Sounds about right.
Sam Allardyce was unimpressive. And you know, I've got a little cheeky bit of gossip for you all later about Sunderland. I bet
Ooh.
you're all gonna love.
Ooh.
So but you all better listen out for that one. So we'll move on now to the Kurt topic.
Now, one thing I want to mention about is goalkeepers and defenders. I am a huge fan, you know, as people who've played with me on Football Manager, people that have, you know, the few, maybe there's one or two of you here that have watched either of my Football Manager episodes on, or a series, either three of them actually, because I stoked to pass a few. Me and Joe did one on my channel. And I
Are
did
you
a
talking
few
about
at the
your
start.
defence where you lost 5-1 to me?
Anyway, let's just pretend Joe didn't talk. Not happy with that. But one thing that, you know, perplexes me is when you're given a team with players that cannot pass out from the back, why do managers try and pass out from the back? It's something that Brendan Rodgers did, you know, with a defence of Mignolet, Skirtle and Sacco. They don't strike you as the, you know, the finesse type of blokes. They look to you
Actually,
as something they're going to boot the ball up there.
I need to stop you there. Lovren played more than Skirtle.
Lovren.
No, sorry, Sacco. So that's even worse.
Well, Lovren just gave the ball away all the time. I think we did see it, you know, and we've seen it in many other teams, mainly at Stoke. I listened to Swansea versus Stoke, and oh my goodness, I've never seen a funnier self-destruction of someone talking about someone's or both teams' passing game than Steve Claridge on BBC Radio 5 Live. He was going nuts at Swansea and Stoke's passing. One thing I think most people will now be relating to is the Jack Butland incident. Now, Butland is one to know he can play out from the back. He mistimes the ball. He mistimes the touch. Really gets it wrong. Goes in, gets tackle, gets the ball. The point about that tackle was, and the fact it was so bad, even though he got the ball, was the fact he leapt off the ground, 2 feet, studs up. That's a leg breaker. You know, and if we're looking at let's say Diego Costa's doing that, we're looking at someone getting banned. We're looking at Diego Costa getting banned for life for being an absolute savage. You know, it's something that needs to be said. You know, it's the in thing now for defences and goalkeepers to play out from the back. You know, get it out to the midfielders, distribute it well, and start attacks from there. Nice on the ground passing play, which is surprisingly something everyone hated to do when they were younger in like training sessions. The minute your under 14s manager said, right, we're going to play a game, the ball does not go off the ground, you felt like you're going to commit suicide. Like, what am I to do now? I can't hoof the ball. This isn't English. What are we talking about? We're not in Spain. Not even this. But I don't understand why. If I'm coming into management and I'm a big fan of people playing out from the back, and you inherit a team like, let's say, with Lovren, with Skirtle, with Sacco, with Mignolet, a team that can't play out from the back, why try and do it? It's pointless, and it's going to constantly lose you the ball. And if we're going to put things down as why Brendan Rodgers lost his job in this season, playing out from the back cost them dearly in quite a few games.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I think if you're going to play out the back, you need to have the right sort of team to do it with. We're trying too much to be like the Barcelonas, the Juventuses of this world, and we really need to improve our own game rather than, trying to copy others.
Mm-hmm.
But I personally think that if you're going to play at the back, you do need the right players. You players like John Stones, who's very good at that job of playing it out from the back. I do agree though. I think if you're going to have a solid defence, you play solidly.
Yeah.
Like the old-fashioned Shaw Cross and Rob Hoof centre-back
Shaw
partnership at
crunch.
Stoke
Wee.
was just unbelievable at times of how good they were. Like, and that's not even an understatement. Like how good they were defensively. But you wouldn't see them passing the ball out from the back. Oh no, you would see them hoof the ball further than they tackle the players.
That's a long way.
Uh, I've been pretty disappointed with the ability of Premier League players passing out from the back. The only players that I think, the only team that can pass out from the back is probably the likes of, I almost said Spurs. That's disgusting. I was actually meant to say Manchester City, as they have Company and Otamendi. Despite Otamendi not playing every week, they're probably the only two defenders that could play out from the back. And maybe Ogbonna, because he's Italian and used to play for Juventus.
Otamendi, Company is just an all-round great defender. He can pass out from the back. He's seen that before. Otamendi's come from a league where they do that all the time. So if a defence is geared up to it, it's that. And you also got to think you've got Kolarov one side, who's fantastic on the ball, and you've got Zabaleta if you've got a fit defence the other side, who again is fantastic on the ball. If any team can do it, City can.
Yeah, and you could even say Arsenal as well. Koscielny is good on the ball. Bellerin's quite good on the ball. The only positions they're left down in is the other centre back and left back. Because I don't really rate Gibbs or Nacho Monreal at all.
Ouch.
But yeah, I mean, there's not many teams that I would say could play out from the back, apart from Man City, potentially Arsenal in the future, maybe Man U, if they did it in the right way. But that's about it. No other teams stick out to me that they could pass out from the back. Maybe the old Swansea.
Yeah. The old Swansea. The month ago Swansea. The one that beat Man United. Swansea.
About a week ago.
One thing to mention, while we're on the topic of passing out from the back, the passing was shocking. I've seen highlights from the game. Oh my goodness. What an awful, awful game for passing. I did do a review, and I did have my I usually do three midfielders that were poor. One of them was Tiote, for the simple fact he could have thrown the game away. Another one was I can't remember who it was, but that'll come to me in a second. So it doesn't matter. And the other one was going to be James McLean for the fact that he was an absolute knobhead, and you go over, run to the corner to celebrate, to clap the fans, and then do the come on to the opposition fans. There's no need for that in the game. But he was replaced by John Joe Shelby for the simple fact he barely put a pass right in the game. He was awful. His free kicks were awful, his long shots were awful. I think he had one or two. I think Steve Claridge summed up Shelby up well. You know what you're going to get with Shelby. It's never in the middle. You either get something that is of the class of, 3 times Messi's standard, or you get something that is, something shocking, something that's going to go to the moon. And we saw that in that game. He had 2 long shots. I think he had 1 or 2 long shots cracked against the post. The free kicks ballooned over the bar. You never know what you're going to get.
I mean, I would say that is more the real Shelby that I know. The Shelby that isn't consistent. The Shelby that is not good, in my opinion. I'm not a huge fan of Shelby, as people probably guess. I'm not a huge fan of a lot of players. I seem to say that every week.
Yeah.
Or something or someone I'm just not a huge fan of. But I'm not a fan of Shelby. Simply because I don't think he's got the class that a lot of people think he's got. I actually am going to be very biased right now, and I rate Mark Noble over Shelby.
Oh, you're biased. Biased.
Yeah, I'm just biased. So that's all I want to say on Shelby.
Last thing.
Them all. Oh, God.
Whilst we're on Swansea.
You're pushing it. You're really pushing this.
Sorry. Whilst we're on Swansea. Gary, when he first came into the squad, Gary Monk, he had a team that was pretty much complete. You've got good team. This is the first time where they're out of form in his management. They're out of luck. It'll be interesting to see how in his first management job, how he pulls through this. Now he comes through this, whether he will come out the other end without his job come December, maybe if they still haven't performed, whether he'll come out the other end, pulling through, making a few changes. He tried to make one this game, bringing Mudu Barrow in. Well, I don't think he's going to be in for another game in quite some time. He was had a stinker of a game, absolute stinker. But it'd be interesting to see how Gary Monk does in the next few games, and whether he will last the end of the season.
Yeah, no. Well, I don't think that they're going to sack Gary Monk because he's been a good servant to the club. But that does actually going to bring me on to my gossip in a minute.
Ooh.
I don't have a topic this week. I just want to make it clear to everyone that West Ham are, in fact, fourth in the table. I have got a topic, and this is, well, it isn't exactly football related, but in the very near future, you guys could be in for a little bit of a treat. And Kurt's probably sitting here right now thinking, what is he talking about? But I'm talking about something. Actually, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say this, but I am talking about something between me, Kurt, J&O, and Dave.
Dave, pronunciation as a purdy,
Dave as a purdy, as a party. I'm really sorry, Dave, if you're. Basically, what we plan to do is when Football Manager 2016 comes out, we plan to have a. It is a combined series, isn't it?
A network game.
A network game. Basically, what me and Kurt do 24/7. We're going to have a network game where we all choose teams in the Premier League that aren't in the top 6 and are pretty sort of equal, and we're going to see who is the best manager in the world. I know some of you can see this, but Kurt can't. So I'm the best manager. I know that already. So you guys can see that in the future.
Sorry, who's unemployed?
I'm unemployed on Football Manager. So that is coming in the near future. It's going to be a return for me in, I guess, something that's more consistent than current uploads.
Just a little bit.
Once a week, man. That's me.
JJ.
But yeah, that will be. JJ uploads more than me. That's how bad things have got. But yeah, that is coming to you very soon. That's going to be my little topic.
If it helps,
excited as me.
If we weren't meant to mention it, then it doesn't matter because no one's watching this point anyway.
Yeah, true. McCarthy knows, though. Mr. McCarthy knows.
Shh.
That's all that matters.
Shh. Keep it down.
It's all that matters to me. Right. Where am I? Right, so we're going to move on to the gossip. So Sherwood out, Gary Monk in.
Gary Monk?
Yep, I saw that earlier. Gary Monk in. Despite Moisey being linked with him, and Moisey now saying that he wants to stay in Spain, probably because he's scared of getting mobbed if he gets back to England. Now they now want Gary Monk. I don't see him leaving Swansea anytime soon for.
I can't see him leaving Swansea
for a relegation battle.
Yeah.
I still think they should, put faith in Sherwood. He's got 4 points. That's more than Sunderland, I guess. But Sherwood is. Aston Villa are going down. Okay, right, we're moving on.
In Sherwood's defence, I mean, a lot of people were quick to criticise him at Spurs. I feel like at some points that was unfair. Oh, Jesus Christ's sake. I've just conceded a last-minute goal. In Sherwood's defence... Oh, it's been disallowed. Never mind. No, I'm not on overload anymore. In Sherwood's defence, he was criticised a lot at Spurs. I feel like it was unnecessary. He's been criticised a lot now. Did a decent job, Aston Villa, before. Had a bit of an eggy bit, at the end of the season. Started this season, he's been very poor. I don't think anyone can save Villa, barring the owners. Depending on who bought players in the transfer window, not a lot of them are poor signings for me. You're looking at Benteke, who's world class, Delph, who's world class, Vlar, who's world class. They haven't replaced any of those 3 players, and I don't think Sherwood can save them. I don't think Moisey can save them. I don't think Monk can save them. I think the only people that can save them is the
Carlo Ancelotti.
Carlo Ancelotti is the January transfer window. It's the only way.
No, yeah, I agree. The transfer window needs to come fast for them.
Mm-hmm.
They need to sign well. They need to sign the right players, and they really, really need a striker. Like, desperately.
Yeah.
They need to replace Benteke. Rudy Gested has scored a few goals, credit where it's due again, but he's not good enough to score the amount of goals that Benteke scored.
And the thing to mention is that Benteke has gone to a club that wants to get Champions League. Delph has gone to a club that's going to Champions League. Vlar left, I think, because of fitness concerns, but he still was, a monumental voice back there. Their captain coming in is a person that hasn't been at the club before. I don't like that. I don't like anyone that, I think he needs to be at the club a year to gain captaincy, unless, of course, you're a team lower down, in which case, you've got captains changing all the time. And, they replaced it with a championship player in striker, and you look at the midfielders, and none of them are, top 10 Premier League quality for me. That's where they've gone wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree. They haven't got that player. I don't feel like they've got that player anymore that can create that spark in the team. They haven't got that striker that you look to score the goals, and they haven't got that creative player either. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what Delph was, the creative player, and also they need a Benteke replacement. But anyway, I've said that enough. Let's move on to Pep Guardiola to leave Bayern Munich.
Oh, not again.
Yeah, that's coming out again. Pep Guardiola, his contract is up soon, and he has apparently been quoted saying that there's no point winning all the time. Eventually, you should move on and try a new challenge.
Aston Villa. There's no point winning all the time. You're not going to win all the time at Aston Villa, Pep. You've been in the Championship.
You're not going to win at all. Yeah, exactly.
Imagine that, Pep Guardiola coming up against someone like Russell Slade in the Championship. Neil Lennon on a rainy away day at Bolton Wanderers. Jesus Christ, where have my career gone?
He'll go from playing against Royce to playing against Heskey.
Same thing.
Yeah, well, Heskey's a slightly better player. So yeah, I just thought I'd add that. It's probably not going to happen. Pep Guardiola to Chelsea or Man United's always a big one, isn't it? So
City.
My last one. Yeah, all City. I got my last one. This is one that I have jokingly predicted, but I don't think it is going to happen after hearing what Sam Allardyce has said. But Kevin Nolan to Sunderland could be on the cards.
You would love that, wouldn't you?
I would love that. If Kevin Nolan goes to Sunderland, it would just prove everything that I've ever said about Kevin Nolan and Sam Allardyce ever. And that's that he only gets in the team because he's best friends with the manager. It's a little bit like when you're young and the manager's son plays every single week up front.
Not that kid.
You know what I mean, Kurt. A manager's son that plays every single week and they play up front and they're absolutely shit. That is what it reminds me of. But I have also seen...
Worst thing is they take penalties as well.
Yes. I have also seen, though, that Sam Allardyce said he's not signing Nolan because his main priority is a striker, which is, of course, needed at Sunderland, for sure. They definitely need a striker, especially after letting go of Connor Wickham and not signing a replacement. But Kevin Nolan can play up front, so you never know.
So can Kouyaté.
Yep, no, they can't have him. He's mine. He's mine forever. That's actually all the gossip I've got, apart from there's 2 interesting announcements in the Ballon d'Or list. What's his name? Martin Luongo. Or something like that. Massimo Luongo. And, what's his other name? Christian Atsu.
Yes. International-wise, they've done well for their country, so they got in there.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty... I mean, I could have... Really, I might move to San Marino for 10 years.
In other news, whilst we're here, Leverkusen are 2-0 up against Roma. Javier Hernandez are getting the goal. Zenit is 1-up against Lyon. Valencia is 1-up against Ghent. Dynamo Kiev and Chelsea, and I went 20 minutes in, is a solid 0-0, with Chelsea being dominated in possession, 57% to their opponents, Dynamo Kiev, and Arsenal on it, Barcelona. Bayern Munich, so Arsenal versus Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich currently have 75% possession. Over to you.
Thanks, Jeff. And we're gonna. I think we're done. Kurt, to be honest.
We did a decent job. We're almost. I
mean, I've done good again. I'm once again the best. I've got nothing more to say. Next week will be a big week, as there is a lot of big games, and I can guarantee there'll be nowhere near as many goals, and we're hyping it up for no reason whatsoever. But I hope you have all enjoyed this episode of Let's Talk Football, the podcast, episode 267,673.
Bloody hell.
Yeah, I know. I hope you've all enjoyed it. I hope you'll all see us next time in about a week's time, and then we'll once again be singing "About a Week Ago."
Oh, I was just doing a dance for that.
And now I'm going to do what I always do, and I'm going to ask Kurt to sign us out.
Well, it's been emotional. One thing we can say is that we got through it together. All one of you.
Thank you, Thomas.
You're the reason we continue to do this. But thank you guys for watching anyway. Hopefully next week we might have some guests on. We're discussing a few contract deals. Maybe a return deal for. I don't know why I've just said for someone, because when we say return deal, there's only one person that's been on, so it basically gives away who it is.
All right, okay,
Vladimir
look,
Putin.
no, it's fine. I'll sign a contract. Just put it on the table.
But thank you guys for watching. Nevertheless, if you have liked this video, remember to leave a like. Let me think in the comments down below. I've just gone 1-0 down against Swansea, and subscribe if you feel like you want to keep up to date with my channel, or indeed Joe's channel, who you're also going to be hearing me talking. And any last words, Joe?
See ya.
See ya.